I cannot wait to record this episode. I'm so excited to talk to you about the unsung hero of health and something that has been on my radar to share with you for quite some time. But you know what? Life just gets in the way and I see something shiny and I can't always share it with you. Welcome to the Get Fit with Jodelle podcast. I am doing a solo episode today all about your lymphatic system. Now, before you change and go, how does this apply to me? I don't care about my lymphatics. You definitely should. Because if you have a sluggish thyroid, if you have constant bloat and gut issues, if you have sleep, stress, tension, autoimmune issues, if you have brain fog, if you have fat that won't budge on the backs of your arms, your hips, your thighs, your tummy, all of those trouble spots, then yeah, you're going to want to pay attention to this. And if you want a major detox, but you don't want to go through a major detox, this is something you're going to want to pay attention to. This is the episode that could be the adjunct to what you're doing that's going to start to help you see results. Because when I work on lymphatics with people, that's when they start to see the needle move. They could be doing the right diet for them. They could be doing all the exercise in the world, but the lymphatic piece is not there. And I'm going to help you understand why it's affecting you so deeply if you're not addressing lymphatic drainage in your body. Essentially, your lymphatic system is your immune system. So, but it's not just about immunity, it's about so many other things. Now, before we dive into that, and before I dive into later, I'm going to take you through a really, really simple self-massage you're going to do to open up these lymphatic pathways and talk about some other things you can do for your lymph. Let me start off by saying that sometimes I'm seeing a trend in people that I want to address, that health needs to be difficult. Like I have to be on a diet and I have to be doing the hardest workout program out there and I have to restrict and I have to take away all these things in my life that are so-called fun, and I can't have any alcohol and I can't do this and I can't do that, and I'm doing all these biohacks and I got to make sure I get my red light and I got to follow my circadian rhythm and I can't have any EMF. And it's starting to sound hard for a lot of people to the point where they don't end up doing anything. They start to just give up on their health overall. Or they get so obsessed, and so much of the diet culture comes out in the orthorexic culture that it makes it feel like if you're not doing all of these 952 biohacks and eating 100% clean and taking a suitcase full of supplements, that you're not going to see results. But the healthiest mammals I know on the planet, blue whales, horses, jaguars, just to name a few, dolphins, they need only a few things. And we're not that far off from them. Okay? Not not in the standpoint of like, yeah, we're not furry animals, but what we need is not any different than what they need. They need food, they need water, they need sunlight, they need air, and they need movement, and they need love. Okay? We don't work that much different. We don't have a statin deficiency. Okay? We don't have a biohack HBOT, get hyperbaric oxygen chamber deficiency. Okay? We don't have I got to do compression and all this like biohacks with my brain nootropics. We don't have a nootropic deficiency. What we have is a back to basics deficiency. We're doing too much. It's creating too much stress. It's creating this culture of like, if I'm not doing all the things, I'm not doing anything. And that's what we need to step back and stop making health so difficult and instead focus on, what if health could be just 2 to 3 minutes of a self massage where I'm actually touching my body and feeling where I'm tender and working that out, working the toxins out. And then I go out in the sunshine and I drink some water with electrolytes in it. Okay. So what if it could be that easy and it takes the stress out of the 952 biohacks that you think you have to be doing in order to have good health? So I just want you to ruminate on that a little bit, that your health doesn't have to be hard. And what I'm about to share with you today is not hard to do. Anybody can do this, whether you lie in bed all day because you're exhausted or you're a professional athlete. Anybody can do this, and everybody should, because the lymphatic piece of our body touches on so many aspects of our health. So if you want something simple and easy that you get to the end of it and you're like, did I really do anything? But then you start seeing results and it's not hard, don't be surprised, okay? So this can take as little as 3 minutes. And I just want to remind you that sometimes it's the small steps that yield the biggest results over time. No need to restrict calories. You can eat like you want to eat and how you feel your best. I always say eat foods that love you back. You don't have to burn the candle at both ends with all the habits and the health suggestions. Food, water, sunlight, air, movement, and love. Okay, that's what we want to focus on. So if you're ready to dive into the lymphatic piece, we're going to start by asking the question, can you really love your lymph in order to lose fat? Yes. Lymphatic drainage is the unsung hero, like I said, specifically with fat and stubborn areas. So let's understand what the lymphatic system is and what it does in the body first. Then we'll go into how does this play into fat loss, Jodelle, because you've got me intrigued. You know, I'm all about, like, I love talking fat loss. I love talking like body aesthetics and physique and stuff. The fish tank is something that we can be familiar with. Like, think of a fish tank and how every fish tank has a filter. What happens if you don't clean the filter? Okay, and this is something you have to manually do. If you've ever had a fish tank, you got to take the filter out, you got to clean it, you got to like put all the little fish in little baggies in the water and keep them separate when you're cleaning the tank. Okay, you can't just, when you have a fish tank and it starts to turn green and mucky and gross, you can't just like scrub the sides, put some chemicals in there and Bob's your uncle. No, it's not that easy. You have to clean the filter or things are just going to get worse and you're going to have some fish that are going to bottom up. So our body is no different. Think of your body as the fish tank. The lymphatic system is your fish filter, okay? Your skin's like the glass, your fluids are like the water in there, the coral and the fish and the chemicals are like your innards. And then there's that filter of your fish tank, and that's your lymphatic system. So what happens when your fish filter is backed up? Well, think about a dirty fish tank. I could take out the water and put in new water. I could take out the fish, put in new fish. But if I don't fix that filter, the same problem is going to start occurring over and over. So those of you that are getting minimal results with, like, I take a supplement or I do this biohack and I feel better, but then I feel crappy again. Could it be your fish filter? Could it be your lymphatic system? You cannot get well in the same system you got ill in. You need to change the system, okay? So before I start telling you how to address this amazing system of your body and how it could start a cascade of wellness for you, let me explain how it works and what it does. So your lymphatic system is composed of vessels, nodes. You've heard people talk about your lymph nodes, your ducts, the lymphatic fluid, and it sidesteps the liver collecting for soluble toxins and is essentially, like I said, the fish filter, or in another sense, the garbage collector or the city dump of your body, okay? The primary function of the lymphatic system is carrying waste, proteins, and fluids away from extracellular matrix of your body, also called the ECM, which is essentially a communication network of vessels and organs and tissues between cells. It's the extracellular matrix. So it's essentially the space that like sends little messages between the organ cells, the tissue cells, and things like that. The intricate network of lymphatic vessels extends throughout the entire body, even into the brain. We have the meningeal lymphatic vessels that connect the brain to the immune system and are responsible for maintaining healthy fluid balance. We have the glymphatic system of the brain. And we've got the gut-brain connection. The gut has the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, GALT, which is lymph tissue in the gut. And again, you've got thousands of lymph nodes in your body, 600 to 1,000. And so what you're going to see is about 300 to 500 of those are in your gut, okay? 200 to 300 are probably in your neck, okay? As well as, not only is it maintaining healthy fluid balance, and we're going to talk about why that's important, but as well as removing waste, it also transports disease fighters such as your white blood cells and your lymphocytes. Have you ever gotten blood work back and your lymphocytes are low or your white blood cell count is low? Are they hanging out in stagnant lymphatic gel-like viscous fluid that should be moving through the lymphatic system, but it's not? Probably so, because the lymphatic system dumps into the blood to be filtered out and eliminated. So it's collecting all these toxins, going up into this thoracic duct that hangs out right around your collarbone, and then pushing it all down to be filtered through the blood, okay? It's a major player in immunity, recognizing toxins and foreign invaders like viruses, bacteria, fungi, cancer cells, removing them, and the cellular waste along with them. The most interesting to me, though, is the responsibility on the shoulders of the lymphatic system for hormonal balance and fat loss. Okay, so hormones are actually regulated by the lymphatic system. Those of you that are having perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms, could it be your lymph is backed up? Okay. Nutrients, waste products traveling between the cells must make their way through that ECM, the extracellular matrix. If the lymphatic channels are impeded or otherwise not functioning normally, these molecules and enzymes will be affected, ultimately changing the messages delivered to your cells and depositing waste products into your tissues. So testosterone, progesterone, estrogens coming into the cell, and the messages are getting cross-contaminated, and your cells are like, I'm not getting what I need. Basically, the chemical hormone messaging system is impeded or simply shut down when the lymphatic system is backed up. Okay, this is why you have stubborn fat on your thighs, no matter how well you eat and exercise, and it's not burning. The other piece is it toxicity or is it fat? Okay. Are you just backed up with toxic fluid in the hips and the thighs, or is it actually fat accumulating on the thighs? It can go either way with a non-functioning lymphatic system. And get this, did you know about the most common types of hormonal imbalance in women, which is also becoming common in men, mind you, is estrogen dominance. So pay attention, because all of you out there in the pro-metabolic circuit worried about estrogen, this is interesting. While it happens naturally to some extent as we age and our hormone profile changes, it can also be caused or exacerbated by toxicity. Okay, buildup of toxins in the body, poor diet, obviously, exogenous hormones, and trauma. Estrogen dominance occurs when there's an imbalance of this hormone relative to progesterone. Stay with me, we know all this. Throwing off the ratio of these two closely related hormones. It may cause a host of uncomfortable symptoms, including hormonal headaches, weight gain, PCOS, hot flashes, acne, depression, anxiety, and even increase in your thyroid dysfunction. Breast cancer, uterine fibroids, the autoimmune diseases that are rampant today, all of these are impacted by the lymphatic system hormone regulation, okay? Lymphatic system tends to attract progesterone more readily. Did you hear that? In addition, this may be why topical application of progesterone, where the lymph vessels are superficially located, they're just below the skin. We have lymph vessels just below the skin there, and they may result in higher than normal levels reaching the tissues. Research by a compounding pharmacy in 2014 drew exactly this conclusion about the delivery of topical progesterone. As this system works in conjunction with blood circulation, it's extremely important that our lymphatics are flowing freely in order to support the delivery of progesterone and keep our hormones in balance. Bottom line is, if your lymphatic system is backed up, then you're adding this topical progesterone to your body in whatever area you're adding it to, but yet the progesterone can't fully get into the system because there's a stagnation in the lymphatics. There's your answer, why it's not working, okay? So this is a good spot to interject with the fact that unlike our circulatory and blood system, our lymph system has no pump. Okay, so we have to manually pump this system ourselves to achieve healthy lymph and hormones and fat loss. It's not just like the pump of the heart is always pushing blood where it needs to go. You have to open up the drainage city dump and allow those little garbage trucks in to dump all the waste. Okay, you have to do that manually. And we're going to go through that in a little bit, and it takes hardly any time, so stay tuned for that. Now, next, let's talk about that fat loss piece by way of something called the lacteal. Okay, nearly all dietary lipids, which is a fat, is transported by chylomicrons. Okay, I'm going to get a little sciencey on you. From the gut, you eat the fat, goes into the gut, chylomicrons from the gut to the blood through the lymphatic system by entering these specialized lymphatic vessels referred to as lacteals. Okay, in the villi in the intestine. The lymphatic system's role in weight loss is to absorb the digestive fat from the small intestine via the lacteals and transport it through the bloodstream where it can be used as energy. Okay, remember how fat is an energy, or removed as waste. A poorly functioning lymphatic system or a stagnant lymphatic system can lead to noticeable weight gain and extra difficulty releasing the weight. Okay. And there's more, okay? So if the fluid, if it's not a fat issue and you're not building up just fat, but you're actually having these symptoms of heavy legs and watery, like fluid retention, edema and swelling all throughout your lower body or any part of your body, really, this is an issue with fluids. Your fluids are backing up. And what tends to happen then is the body no longer recognizes where it has fat to pull from. All it sees is water. So these areas around the hips and the thighs start to really add up in weight. But the body doesn't know that. The body goes, well, I don't have body fat to burn. I'll just continue to burn from the areas I know I have, like breasts and my abdomen. So you might get smaller when you're dieting in your upper body, but your legs are still thick and heavy and not really seeing the results. This is a fluid issue, okay? This is not a fat issue. This is a fluid issue that we got to start moving those fluids out via the clogged lymphatic system. So full body constipation. This is a fluid backup. Lymphatic fluid should be watery. It should be fluid. In fact, lympha in Greek means water or fluid. We want to be watery beings, okay? Like we're made of 50 to 60% water or fluids. We've got blood, we've got plasma, we've got lymphatic fluid, we've got stomach acid, we've got all these pancreatic juices. I mean, we're juicy people. We got to stay fluid. But what tends to happen is we get backed up with this sludgy, stodgy, viscous, gel-like fluid in our body that makes us, really kind of not energetic. Why are so many people complaining about, I don't have any energy? Well, if your gas or your oil in your car was toothpastey, is your car really going to run that great? The same is true for the fluids of our body. If they're backing up gel-like and really sludgy and stodgy, then yeah, you're going to feel sludgy and stodgy, okay? So full body constipation, I'm not just talking about you can't go poop. This is like where you wake up in the morning, you're achy, your joints ache, it takes you a while to get going, you have to get coffee, your brain's all fogged out, and you feel like you've been hit by a Mack truck and every movement you make is effort, okay? Full body constipation. Your gut's not working, you're bloated, you're gassy, it feels like it takes you hours to digest a meal, and if you eat one meal, it's like you can't eat the rest of the day. Full body constipation. Since the lymphatic system collects toxins and pushes them out to be eliminated, what if you aren't eliminating? These toxins have to go somewhere, so full body constipation. Going to the bathroom is a huge piece of the lymphatic system. You have to make sure you're going once a day. In fact, I have people that go, no, I'm not constipated. I go like every 2 or 3 days. I'm like, that's constipation. Like if you're not taking the trash out of your house every single day, that's constipation. Okay, once a day at least, 2 to 3 would be a little more ideal. So how do you know when you're having lymphatic backup other than what I just talked about? Maybe you're not having energy issues. I can't imagine that because most people are, unfortunately. Maybe you don't feel really stagnant. Maybe you have good energy. Maybe you're eliminating every day. There's some other symptoms you need to know about, not just the full body constipation. Congestion is another one. If you're having like a lot of mucus, a lot of post nasal drip, and a lot of like crispy eyes when you wake up in the morning, a lot of phlegm, you're clearing your throat a lot, okay? You might be surprised at how many symptoms there are that will let you know you have lymphatic backup going on. So swelling, you'll see it in swelling and edema. If you have any sort of daily swelling, if you have any sort of cellulite, lymphatic drainage. Through your middle, you're going to see like that spare tire where it's like, gosh, am I fat or am I puffy? Okay. Usually that's lymphatic drainage because again, that midsection has 300 to 500 lymph nodes there. Okay. What about brain fog? If the glymphatic system and the lymphatic system of the brain is not moving out toxins, you'll get it through there. You'll get it frustrated with stubborn weight gain. You're going to feel like, gosh, the back of my arms, I've never had such big arms. I hear that from a lot of women now. They're going, my arms are huge. Why are my arms getting so fat? This is fluid that's accumulating. In most cases, yes, fat can build up too if your sugars are off, your hormones are off, you're estrogen dominant. But typically, if you're seeing like a real watery, fluidy kind of look to your body, that's more of lymphatic drainage that needs to happen. You tried everything to get rid of your bloating and it hasn't happened. And you're putting more diet pills and potions and lotions and toxic substances on your body in order to move stuff out or to see weight gain that's been there for days. You know, these people that are like, I put this like cream on that's supposed to help me burn fat on my body. I've tried everything else and I'm doing these diet pills and I'm taking these tinctures and liver cleanses and everything. Is it helping? Chances are no, because rather than just bringing stuff into your fish tank, clean the filter. Rather than just swirling a clogged toilet, take a plunger and plunge the toilet. Okay, get it moving. We have to manually pump this system. And no, it's not, some of you are listening going, well, I dry brush, I rebound. Great, keep doing that after you do what I'm going to show you today, the lymphatic drainage piece, because you can swirl a toilet, but until you plunge it, it's not going to go down. And when you're doing dry brushing and you haven't opened up these really tight areas where there's a lot of clusters of nodes, like your axillary, armpits, the neck, the collarbone, the gut, the inguinal. When you don't open those up, then all of that fluid comes up to be eliminated and then goes right back down because that's a clogged toilet, okay? Other symptoms are puffy face. If somebody's getting puffy around their eyes, around their face, their chin is getting puffy, starting to get that saggy little turkey neck going on there. They've got fluid that it looks like there's fluid under their eyes or around the top of their eyes. I hear this one a lot, clogged, juicy ears. I've had somebody call it my ears are juicy. Okay, that's backed up fluid in the eustachian tubes. Poor restless sleep, trouble concentrating, skin issues and inflammation. In fact, skin, if you're starting to get acne and inflammation and stuff looks like it's coming out of the skin, maybe your skin is getting more acne, that's toxins coming out because the body goes, I got to get this out somehow. And my lymphatic system isn't working. So I'm going to have to push this out through our largest organ so I can get rid of some of this stuff. Sometimes you'll do the lymphatic piece and the acne will go away because your body's like, oh, good, I've got a system where I'm moving out toxins. I don't have to go via the skin anymore. Gut and digestive distress of any kind is a huge symptom. Red, yellow, crusty eyes in the morning or throughout the day if your eyes get red. Fatigue and exhaustion, frequent headaches and migraines, painful menstruation. I can't tell you how many people, they start doing the lymphatic work and their cramps, their period pain all goes away. Infertility and thyroid issues. Okay, so think about this. Those of you that are always working on your thyroid, you have over 200 to 500 lymph nodes in this area. If they're clogged and backed up, do you really think your thyroid, which sits right here like a little bow tie in the front of your neck, do you really think it's going to function optimally if it's getting compressed and recessed and it's dealing with stagnation right there in a part where it's supposed to have extreme blood flow and pump out the right amount of hormones? And since we know now that these chemical messengers go through the lymphatic system, what if the thyroid's not hearing what the pituitary is saying? What if the thyroid's putting out hormones, but the liver's not hearing what the thyroid's saying? Okay, so all of these play in tandem. Big signs, aching, heavy feeling in the legs. If you tell, I have clients who'll say, my legs feel so heavy, it feels like I'm carrying around 20 pounds of weight on each leg. Probably 20 pounds of water, so we got to get that fluid off there. But heavy legs, that's a big issue with lymphatics. Difficulty with movement, repeated skin infections, developing hard, tight, or thickened skin. If your skin seems like it's gotten thicker over the years, that's a buildup of fluid. Another thing is like you don't move as freely. You're starting to like hunch forward, your posture's going down, you feel like you're tighter overall. When your lymph is not moving and you start to get stagnant, it's almost like what I call early onset rigor mortis. So rigor mortis is how dead bodies become stiff after they die. but I'm seeing this in people as young as teenagers who don't move their bodies. They stay sedentary. Their lymph, their fascia, everything is backing up. And it's almost like they have early onset rigor mortis before they're even getting close to death. Okay. So thickened skin, tightened muscles, you just don't move as freely. You want to start thinking about moving your lymph and your fascia too, which will be a whole nother podcast. Folds developing in your skin, like maybe you're looking down, you're like, never had that fold in my bicep before, or the inside of your knee, you sit and you go cross-legged with your knee and you look down, you got a little fat roll there. Okay, that could be a buildup of fluid in your legs. Wart-like growths developing on the skin. I've had people that go, why am I getting all these warts? Okay, that's actually an issue with lymphatic backup. And then even you can go as far as it gets so bad your fluid can leak through the skin. There's people now I know that are going in the hospital with cellulitis and fluid is just coming out of their skin. At some point in time, your body goes, white flag, I fold, I got to get this fluid out. And we're going to do it one way or another. So these are some things that are like extreme cases, but still something you want to go, wow, am I trending that way? Or have I had those issues? It's time to work on my lymphatics. So the lymphatic system serves almost every cell of your entire body. So it stands to reason that if we are made of trillions of cells, that it's vastly important to all the systems of the body. The lymph system is vital for maintaining fluid balance. Like I said, your lymph loves your liver and bile output, and they work in tandem together. And they're the two major players along with fascia to get rid of cellulite. Yes, you can get rid of cellulite, but you got to start with the lymphatic piece and then we'll move on to fascia after that. The biggest deterrents of it are blockages and poor circulation, lack of movement, or being sedentary, sitting behind a computer all day long, or just sitting a lot, because this system needs constant pumping in order to move the lymphatic piece. So more than just, I'm going to go do my 1 hour CrossFit workout and then I'm going to sit behind my desk for 9 hours. I'd rather you do little movements all day long to keep that lymph moving. I'd rather you be piddling around and working on kitchen stuff and cleaning over here and sweeping over there and going for walks after meals or taking the dog out for a stroll. Or I have a system in my house where I don't have a cleaning day. I just every so often I'm cleaning something. I'm like, oh, I'm in the bathroom, I'm gonna do the toilet. And oh, I'm getting up to go pee, I might as well take the toilet bowl and clean it out. Or I'm gonna wipe out the sink. I'll bring my little spray bottle of vinegar and wipe out the kitchen sink or wipe out the bathroom sink while I'm in there. So I want to do little piddly things all day long, so I'm constantly moving my lymph. Okay, so if you aren't using it, you're going to build it up basically. If you aren't using your muscles much, the lymph stalls out like sludged up auto engine and becomes a cesspool for toxins that leads to tissue backup, cellulitis, cellulite, cellular resistance, because it all has to do with these cells, insulin resistance, and weight loss resistance. Yes, toxic buildup not only makes you sick, but also puts fat on you, and then it won't budge because your body's like, I don't even hear that we have fat down there on our hips and thighs because so much water's involved and so much fluid accumulation is involved. I'm not sure where to look to burn fat. So there's 6 stagnant prone toilet areas, I like to call them, that are full of the greatest lymph node clusters. We're going to go through those and take you through this fun little massage that you can do anywhere, anytime. You can use one hand and do it while you're driving down the road, as long as you're, at least 10 o'clock, and maybe you're not 10 and 2, but you're 10 o'clock and you're driving down the road and you're focused on the road, but yet you can touch your body and work these areas. You can do it first thing in the morning when you're laying in bed. The best time I love to do is like right before I'm going to do some sort of movement. I'm going to do this to open up, because think about if these little clogged toilet areas, the head, the axillary, the armpit, the inguinals, the gut, if we open that up and then we start doing chest press, squats, downward dog, upward dog, whatever you're doing as far as your movement, you're moving all that fluid out, and it's amazing. And you're going to see it come out. You're going to see yourself having to pee more for the first few weeks. You're going to see the fluid come out of your legs. You're going to see your arms have more definition because you're not carrying fluid. You're going to see your face kind of anti-age, and areas where you've been puffy are going to go down. So I can't preach this enough to those of you who are like, what am I missing? This is what you're missing, okay? So I'm going to take you through these 6 areas. We're going to do this together. The first thing I want you to remember is you have to go in order, and you have to start with the collarbone, okay? This is what they call the termini. Think about the terminal at the airport where everybody goes to get on their flights. Okay, you got to open that up first. Nobody can get on their flights if the terminal is closed. So you're going to go to your collarbone, go right above your collarbone into that little divot. A side note here, if you don't have a divot, if you don't have a clavicular space there, that's a sign that you have backed up lymph. You should be able to see an indentation right above your collarbone where you can actually push and pump there. If you don't, that's fluid, okay? If you have saggy jowls or a big thick neck, that's fluid, okay? We got to start working that out. So we're going to pump there. 30 seconds to a minute is all you're going to do here. You can move around. You can do one hand at a time on top of the collarbone, below the collarbone. You can go right above, right below. Just move all that around. Tell the city dump to open the gates because all the trash is about to come in. Okay, so then we're going to move up to, that's 30 seconds to a minute there. We're going to move up to right behind the jawbone and right underneath the earlobe, kind of like where your earrings hang down. So what you're going to do there is press in gently. You can use one finger or two and just start to pull down. Again, this is the city dump. So we're working all this fluid down towards the city dump. Now, one thing I like to do is like put my hands to face backwards, and I put my pinky right in that space, and then I just kind of pull down. I like to just create gentle pressure. I'm not looking for a deep tissue massage here. The lymph nodes of this area and pretty much all of the body, there are some deep superficial in the gut, but they're all very below the skin. Okay, so you don't have to go real hard, real deep. You're actually just moving that fluid right under the skin and moving those lymph nodes. If it's puffy or tender there, you need to do that a little bit more, okay? You're holding a lot of fluid in that tonsillar area, so you want to kind of work that. If you feel like your tonsils are always swollen, or maybe you've had them out at one point in time, chances are you probably need to do this. That's a sign that you've had lymphatic issues for a long time. Now, a lot of people touch here and they start coughing or getting drainage, all normal, okay? You're moving the lymph, so that's a good thing. It might not feel real good, but it is. Now, if you feel down the sides of your neck, that's where it's going to drain down to kind of those sternomasculoid sides of the neck. It's going to drain down into what that thoracic duct is that we did first. That duct is right there on the clavicular area. So you're just kind of pulling down. Sometimes you're going to feel little lentils or kidney beans, I call them, along the sides there. Those are your swollen lymph nodes. You're going to want to work a little bit, give a little extra TLC to. You can also take the hands behind the neck, like you're stressed out. You know how people grab the back of their neck and they pull their elbows down? Okay, do that a few times because you can work some fluid from the back of the head, the back of the neck, down to that thoracic duct. So again, 30 seconds to a minute, or if you find that you're really puffy there, spend a little extra time. Spot number 3 is your axillary or your armpits. You're going to start to, remember how when you're a little kid, you made like fart noises, you put your hand underneath your armpit and then pull down? Okay, start to do that. Grab that little muscle on the front side, your part of your pectoralis muscle, and just kind of pull down. Now, what you're looking for here is, are there any swollen lymph nodes? You're going to want to work a little extra in these areas on both sides if you find that there's any lymph nodes. The other thing is you should have a pit. If there's no pit in there, then you've got fluid. It should not concave out or have a bulge in your armpit. If you are not going in, that's not a genetic thing. You actually should have a pit there and there's a buildup of fluid. So I want you to work that area extra good. So that's spot number 3, 30 seconds to a minute at least. Now we're going to go to the abdomen. So you're going to go just below the sternum and above the belly button to the abdomen, and you're going to press in there, just little pumps, okay? And this is where one of the biggest lymph nodes in your body is your cisterna chyli, okay? And it's right there. If you touch your sternum and you touch your belly button, go right in between the two in the center of your abdomen and pump there. Now in Chinese medicine, they like you to hit your abdomen there 50 times. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, switch hands, just light taps on the abdomen there, doing that 50 times. You can rub side to side. You can make circles, but what you're doing is you're opening up the lymphatic drainage in the gut, remembering that there's 300 to 500 lymph nodes in this area. So spend some extra time here if you've had any sort of gut distress, gas, bloating, acid reflux, spend a little extra time here. Okay, so that's spot number 4. Now you're going to move down to what I call the gutters or the inguinals. So right where your hips crease, okay, right where you're sitting. Now you don't want to do this sitting generally. You want to do it standing. I sat back down so you can see me, but what you're going to do is reach down and pull up. Here, let me stand up again. You're going to reach down and pull those inguinals up. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to move the fluid up towards that thoracic duct. So you need to reach down, pull up, and you're going to do this 30 seconds to a minute. However, if you have more fluid accumulating in your lower body, I want you to spend a little extra time here. Women especially may find kidney beans or lentils in this area of swollen lymph nodes. If that's true for you, I want you to spend a little extra time here. Very important to do that. Finally, spot number 6, you're going to go back behind the legs where the back of the knees are and just above the tippy top of the calf muscle. Okay, so go to the top there, feel for any lymph nodes that are swollen, little sesame seeds or kidney beans or lentils, and start to pull up. So grab behind the knees and draw up and back. Now, what's really cool about as you start to do this, some of you might be feeling a cooling sensation in your body as this lymph starts to move, or a warming. You may start to get warmer or hotter. Some people start to sweat. Some people start to get nauseous. Some people get a headache. I worked on a lady yesterday manually where I was actually doing it on her body, and she started to get a headache and nauseated. That's feels bad, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually showing that we needed to move some fluid out, and she had a little residual symptoms. So the rule of thumb is you're going to do this 30 seconds to a minute in each spot. If you get symptoms from it, don't do it again until those symptoms go away. Okay, so you can do it at least once a day, but if the symptoms kind of hang around for a day or so, maybe you want to wait till they stop. After doing these 6 areas, what I want you to do then is be your own rebounder. If you don't have a rebounder or a little mini trampoline, just do some calf raises up and down, maybe 15 to 20 calf raises, little bitty bounces on your heels, and get those calf muscles, which are a natural pump, to move that fluid up out of the body. Okay, so we can't talk about this lymphatic piece. I've taken you through that massage. I want you to remember this part too, though, because there's a big epidemic of something called lymphedema and lipedema, 2 conditions resulting from issues from lymph stagnation. Lymphedema is a blockage of lymphatic vessels. Okay, fluid accumulates in the legs and causes massive, heavy feeling and perceived weight gain over time, which much of is fluid buildup, while lipedema, not lymphedema, lipedema is a buildup of adipose tissue or fat tissue resulting on its own from lymphedema, where the fat tissue builds up and you become more estrogen dominant and more fat is accumulated. People with these conditions usually can lose weight in their upper body, but little to no weight gets lost in their upper body because they're not addressing the lymphatic system. So that's why this becomes so important. If that's true for you, you might want to look up lymphedema and lipedema and look at the body type. You need to look up and work with a certified lymphedema therapist in your area and begin a protocol that they can put you on, along with this simple massage technique that I showed you to get the ball rolling. Okay, it's important to note that there are very many avenues of elimination in the body that work in tandem with the lymphatic system. And here's a few of those. So breathing, when you get to that gut piece, diaphragmatic breathing works the deep nodes that we can't really get that are surfacey. So it moves, massages, creates pressure to move lymphatic fluid out of stagnation in the gut, creating better digestion, more elimination of the bowels, and helps move out old hormones before they're recycled back into the blood supply. Okay, so by doing that diaphragmatic breathing, which is deep belly breathing, trying to expand your belly on the inhale and then relax your belly as it pushes out or pushes back into the body on the exhale. You should feel like that balloon, that diaphragm comes out underneath the sternum, expands like a balloon in your abdomen, and then goes back up. okay? That is going to move fluid. I had a client who was having chronic gas and bloating at the end of the day. By the end of the day, she was just wrecked with gas and bloating. And as soon as she started doing the lymphatic piece, that's what made it go away. Not changing her food, not a supplement. So this is huge for digestive distress and moving actually the gut in the right manner, okay? Now, the urine and the kidneys are also a way of elimination. So the bladder and the kidneys, one of the two best detoxification avenues. The kidneys filter water, toxins, and other waste out from the blood to form urine. And how that happens is the lymphatic has to dump all its toxins in there. So they need the lymphatic piece in order to get the toxins in, filter them out. Bile and your bowels, your bile is your Dawn dish soap of your gut, and this is where that elimination of hormones comes into play. Sludgy, stodgy lymph equals sludgy, stodgy bile production. And this kind of toothpaste bile, rather than Dawn dish soap bile, does not move the bowels efficiently and causes toxic buildup. Also, it increases calcium issues. So if somebody's having calcium or osteopenia, osteoporosis, I'm going to look at their bile. I'm going to look at their lymphatic piece, because we've got to get the point where the calcium is not leaching from the tissue into the bloodstream, and you're breaking down bone and it's going into the bloodstream to alkalinize because your bile and your lymphatic fluid is so sludgy and stodgy. See, if the bile is not released into the gut, then it seeps into the tissue, into the bloodstream, and then your body breaks down bone to call on calcium to alkalinize the blood, okay? So the bile makes it acidic, then your body robs from Peter to pay Paul to make it alkaline. So we can actually prevent bone loss by keeping bile and lymphatic fluid going. Okay, then there's what's known as the GALT, gut-associated lymphoid tissue, which controls immunity, so that alone should tell you the importance of the lymphatic system in the gut. Skin is another form of a detoxification. Like I said, if your lymphatic system's not working, your skin is going to push things out. Sweat is another way we get things out, so it's good to sweat once a day to help your lymphatic system. When you apply makeups, lotions, sunscreens, hairspray, lip gloss, they absorb in seconds through our largest organ and enter the bloodstream. Usually these bypass the liver first, so that toxins from these cosmetics don't really have to go through all of the time the liver, but sometimes they do. They can still wreak havoc on your estrogen system, though. What's happening is a lot of these estrogenic xenoestrogens, these fake estrogens and this stuff, mimic estrogen in our body. And if we don't have a lymphatic system, and if we're not sweating, we can't get rid of them, of these toxins. Okay, so after a good sweat, it's a good idea to move the lymph, okay, with that little drainage technique before and after. But also, when you've eliminated sweat through your body and you've got clothes on, get them right off, because you want to rinse off and get those sweaty clothes off so you're not reabsorbing the toxins back into your body. Okay, sauna is great, but even more than that is doing lymphatic drainage in the sauna, okay, or following up with sauna and movement. Menstruation is another way that women eliminate toxic buildup. So if you're not menstruating, if you're in menopause, you're probably going to build up some toxins. That's why lymphatic drainage becomes all the more important. But if you're menstruating, in order to not have the buildup and stagnation in the lower abdomen, you want to eliminate those toxins and eliminate all of the buildup from that month. That's the whole reason we have a period or have a bleed, is because your body's getting rid of toxic tissue buildup that it needed in order to support a pregnancy. Birth control pills decrease detox by delaying periods. So if you're on birth control, all the more so you need to be doing lymphatic drainage. Liver, we know that that's going to have a big relationship and a big source of elimination of toxins. Big relationship here because the liver is the largest lymph producing organ, accounting for 25 to 50% of the lymph passing through the thoracic duct comes from the liver. Okay, so if your liver's not happy, then you're not making enough fluid for the lymphatic system. Brain, that's where that lymphatic system is going to come in, where we need to sleep at night in order to move the little garbage trucks through our brain, gather all the toxins and then dump them. That's why first thing in the morning while you're laying in bed, it's really nice to open up the collarbone and that little point number 2 behind the ears so you can start to drain all that stuff out that your body has cleaned house with. That's what the lymphatic system does. It goes through like little garbage trucks and collects all the toxins from the day. So it's really important to keep that going if you want to avoid anything like brain fog and trouble concentrating and things like that. Other forms of elimination, obviously, lungs are going to be that way we breathe out. So we want to keep that diaphragm open and breathing and massaging the lungs. Any sort of movement in the body that's greater than what we do when we're stressed is going to move lymph. So taking deeper breaths is going to help you eliminate things that are in the lungs or in the tissue surrounding the lungs. And then the tongue, even the tongue is a drainage channel for moving fluid out of the face and neck. So I kind of find that interesting. There's different videos and podcasts you can look up with how much the tongue can help with detoxification and the lymphatic system. Now, after you do that drainage, that's when you want to do your rebounding. So rebounding is not just something that Wilt Chamberlain did better than any other basketball player. The kind of rebounding I'm talking about is one that improves your immune system, your lymphatic health, it strengthens your eyes. I used to teach rebounding classes because there's so many benefits to rebounding, but you want to do these 6 areas of toilet unclogging before you rebound. So then you're going to move fluid out. Otherwise, you're just going to push it right back down. Skin brushing, another thing you want to do after the drainage piece. Hydration is key because if you don't have enough water coming in, if you don't have your electrolytes or the electricity of your body through minerals, sodium, potassium, magnesium, then you are going to have an issue with not having the right amount of lymphatic fluid. You're going to need those electrolytes, you're going to need the water to promote better circulation and to move those toxins out. And then grounding, in order to improve circulation, there's backed by 26, I think, peer-reviewed studies on how grounding reduces inflammation by improving circulation. When you improve circulation, the circulatory and the lymphatic system work together. They innervate together, so one helps another, all right? So I'm going to wrap it up there because I've talked long enough about the lymphatic piece, but what I want to do is offer you my lymphatic protocol PDF. I do have that available. If you would like that, you can simply email me. I'm happy to send that to you. Also, if you want to work with me on an individual basis, I have a 1 flat rate of $199. That's a recorded Zoom call that you get together. You can take notes, you can write down everything we talk about, but then I send you the recorded Zoom call and we can piece together how to work the lymphatic drainage massage technique into your life, as well as work on, there's tons of stuff in the lymphatic protocol that will help you move lymph even more so than just doing the massage. So there's lots of other adjuncts you can do, but it is the most important piece along with hydration. Never plain water, always adding electrolytes or coconut water or some sort of electrolytes to your water. Minerals are key. So if you'd like that, you can reach out to me, getfitwithjodelle@gmail.com, and I'm happy to get you on schedule for that. And yeah, love your lymph and it'll love you back, and your body's going to go to places that you have not seen yet. I promise. This is the unsung hero. This is the missing link. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now. Wouldn't it be nice if dialing in your health concerns were easy? Yeah, with so many schools of thought out there and so many diets, so many biohacks, so many tips and tricks, and really diet confusion, it's hard to know what's right for you as the individual. And that's where I would love to help you with a bio-individual pro-metabolic consultation. Yeah, I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it easy. I like to keep it affordable with so much in the world that's not. And so with a simple consultation over Zoom, I record your consult, I send it to you when you're finished so you can go back over it anytime you want. And during that consultation, I ask a slew of questions like a nutrition detective to get to the bottom of your bio-individual needs. All of this for $199. That's right, I told you I like to keep things affordable. I don't think that health should cost a fortune. I think that you know your body better than anybody, and I'm there to listen to you and honor where you are and help you along the way. No two persons' needs are alike, so no wonder your friend loses a ton of weight on keto, but you don't. Your body is completely different, and together you and I will work on a plan that fits your goals, nutrient needs, your lifestyle, thereby creating an optimized lifestyle protocol that you can adhere to, not a diet. I don't do diets. I love to look at HTMA results, hormone testing, and I love to dabble in iridology. So you send me a scan of your iris and I can look at that and tell you what's going on in your gut. Again, the initial consultation is an affordable flat rate of $199. That's right. I like to be affordable and transparent in a world where nothing ever is. And I don't think it should cost a fortune to have a health coach walk you through and navigate your health. So if that interests you, let's set up a free 15-minute discovery call and let's decide if we're a good fit together. Or if you're ready right now, you can email me at getfitwithjodelle@gmail.com and we can get you right on schedule. So for either case, whether you want your discovery call or you want to get right on schedule, that's getfitwithjodelle@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you.